We'll start in about 1 minute. We'll call our Intercounty Council meeting to order, July 28th, 2022. If you would, please stand, and we'll have pledge by Kyle and prayer by Susan. There is a couple of updates to the itinerary because we've had a couple of itineraries and some additions today. Highway Department's added under transfers about midway down, and that'll be a $19,000 general road repair to Assistant Highway Superintendent, which will require a motion. A little below that will be under the Sheriff's Department, payout retirements. Will be Highway Dale Stearns, and I'll have to ask Debbie in a little bit. One place I have 15,000 and another place I have 25. We'll get that corrected when we get there, make sure we're on the same page. Other than that, if you don't have public comment at the bottom of your page, please add that. And we're going to have a public hearing to begin with. Before we have public hearing, I am going to take a request for minutes of the last 2 meetings. We had one on June 23rd, our regular June meeting. Council, hopefully you've had a chance to receive and review those. And we also had a special meeting or work session, I should say, on July 11th. We'll take those together. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve both meeting minutes.
Moved by Susan. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Chad. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
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 And we have Betsy in Montana, so there'll be a 3-second delay. Welcome. It passes unanimously. Now for the public hearing. This is a resolution affirming preliminary resolution designating property as an economic revitalization area and approving real estate property and personal property tax abatement for Co-Alliance Cooperative, Inc. It is resolution number 2022-07-28, today's date, -005. I'm going to ask Corey Murphy to come up, but basically to begin, it says, whereas on June 23rd, 2022, the Henry County Council approved a preliminary resolution designating property as an economic revitalization area and approving real estate property and personal property tax abatement for Co-Alliance. It's a preliminary resolution, and today, as required by law under Indiana Code, we are to conduct a public hearing. And Corey, I think you're going to give a little bit of history leading up to today. And council, you should have a copy of that resolution ending in -005. Corey?
Thank you. Just by way of reminder and a brief summary of the project, it is located on Road 3 north of Newcastle, near Mount Summit. It is a $13.5 million investment, so that's $8 million in building and $5.5 million in equipment. The current employment in Henry County is 20. It's 6 new jobs by the end of 2023. The average wage is $20 per hour, and the abatement recommendation is a 3-year traditional. So that is a summary. I'm happy to answer any questions. There also is a representative of the company in the audience, but I wanted to give you a reminder and also any members of the public of what the project was about and what the recommendation on the abatement is.
Council, do you have any questions regarding to what you have a handout for?
So Kenan, no questions, just wanted to make a comment that myself and Councilwoman Steffendell on the abatement committee has met with the Co-Alliance as well as Corey and went through this, and we voted to recommend approving this abatement.
Yes, thank you, Corey, Peggy, Chad. Okay, whereas notice of public proposed hearing was published as required by Indiana law, and notice of the passage of the preliminary resolution was provided to taxing authorities as required by law, whereas the Henry County Council has conducted a public hearing on the designation of the above real estate as an economic revitalization area and has provided the opportunity for testimony both for and against the designation. At this time, anyone speaking for or any updates? Sir, from Co-Alliance, do you have any comments or additions, or did Corey cover it? We're good? Okay. I think at the last meeting, we took, if there's anybody opposed, we took that at the last meeting, correct? From my recollection, we did that. Any other comments, questions from the council before we take a motion to vote on this resolution ending in 005? Public? If not, we take a motion to consider this resolution 2022-07-28-005.
I make the motion we approve the resolution as presented.
It's been moved by Chad. Do I hear a second? Been
Second.
Seconded by Kyle, and 2 seconds later by Betsy. Yeah, there is a little delay between the central time zone. So it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I think at the last meeting we said this was a plus for Henry County. So if there's no discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. It's passed unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations and thank you. And it says here there's an expansion of over 35 additional acres, so progress. Okay, next on our agenda, we have ordinance number 2022-008. This is the ordinance establishing non-reverting 2022 general revenue bond proceeds fund. This relates to the food and beverage that we've taken up at the last 2 meetings. Whereas on May 26, 2022, the Henry County Council adopted Ordinance 2022-7, authorizing the issuance of general revenue bonds in the amount of $4,500,000 for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of the expansion of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, construction and expansion of child care facilities at the Henry County YMCA, improvements to historic shelter house, ponds, and roads at Memorial Park, together with all necessary appurtenances, related improvements, and equipment. And whereas the bonds were issued and sold on July 6, 2022, in the amount of $3,390,000, and whereas a cumulative non-reverting fund should be established for the allocation of the revenue received for the sale of bonds and for the payment of claims related to the project set forth in Bond Ordinance 2022-7 and cost of issuance of the bonds. And the rest of it is similar to what we've had on other ordinances. It has a repealer, a severability, and effective date, which if passed would be today, July 28th, 2022. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-008.
It's been moved by Susan Hoon. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Peggy Steffendell. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same. Passes unanimously. And thank you again for the Food and Beverage Advisory Committee. Corey's here from that, for the hard work they did over about a 6-month period. And this is the culmination of their work and our multiple meetings. Okay, next on the agenda, we have ordinance number 2022-009. This is an ordinance amending the 2022 salary ordinance and authorizing the use of reimbursement of revenue received by the Henry County Health Department from the Indiana Department of Health, received for administration of vaccines for the COVID-19 virus. Whereas the Health Department has received reimbursements from the Indiana Department of Health for amounts paid by third-party payers for the vaccination administered by the Health Department. Whereas the Health Department wishes to utilize a portion of that amount, it has received as reimbursements to provide a one-time payment of $2,500 to certain part-time county employees and who provided exemplary service to the Health Department during COVID-19 pandemic and did not receive premium pay from revenues received from ARP as approved in Ordinance 2022-4. The desire is to pay 7 individuals that are stated on your ordinance sheet, an amount one time of $2,500 each. This ordinance also has a repealer, severability, and effective date, which would be today if passed. Do I hear a motion?
I move we approve.
Is that you, Chad? It's been moved by Chad Malacote. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been seconded by Susan Hoon. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you. Next on the itinerary, we have additional appropriations. This one is the Henry County Sheriff's Department. Due to new jail move delay, it will need an additional $295,000 for housing of prisoners. Through May 2022, we knew this was coming, and we're thankful the new jail is that we don't have to house prisoners in 3 off-site counties. Do I hear a motion? And this was by Chad? Harold, thank you, Harold. It is hard from up here unless I'm looking at you. It's been moved by Harold. Griffin, is there a second?
Second.
And that was Chad?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
I have some clarifying questions.
Okay,
So is this coming from the general fund, or is this an additional appropriation in their line item in the safety, or the safety lit?
safety lit.
Safety lit, okay,
answer.
thank you. That's why I was asking. That's what I wanted.
Good question. It wasn't on our sheet, just the fund number was on our sheet. Any other discussion? If not, do I have a motion to approve? No. Thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. I tuned in. You made me feel better last night, but I guess we're human after all. I think there's a song by that title, but anyway. Do you have Ed? No, he's in New Jersey. Okay, we are at transfers. I have several, and we added a highway department. First transfer I have would be $1,500 from coroner, line for his toxicology, to a line on disaster supplies. He gives a reason, PPE equipment, quad med, et cetera. Do I have a motion to approve that transfer?
Motion to approve.
Okay, who said that? Susan? Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Kyle. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I need to give Betsy more time. If not, approve 7-0. And the second transfer we have is the Health Department. This is from Health Department Ambulance Fund for a total of $1,190.38 to Public Health Supplies. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Chad. Do I hear a second? Second by Kyle. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same. Passes 7-0. We have okay, this is out of order for me, but we have a request for Highway Department, which I think you have on your desk. It's a late addition for us. $19,000 from general road repair to assistant superintendent position. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Susan. Do I hear a second? Second by Kyle. Discussion?
So I have questions. What's the reasoning for the transfer? Is this to pay the increased salary? Is this to pay out Dale? Is this both? Because the general rule is we generally don't allow department heads to hire new replacement until all of the funds are paid out. That's been our SOP practice.
Come on up, Joe, because you were heading this way anyway. Maybe you can answer where you're coming from and why that didn't happen.
The payout request for Dale was sent on July 6th. You'd like to see the email?
I have a copy of that, so yes.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It's next on the agenda.
I was going to say, I have a letter here dated July 6th for retirement of Dale Stearns.
for that payout.
But what I'm saying is the SOP practice of all county departments is if Jody or Debbie or anyone were to have an employee leave, that position remains vacant until the payout has been reached by that line item that's already in the budget, and then the position can be filled. That's been the standard practice of the county for every department for a long time, much longer than I've been here.
We're not using general funds, we're using highway funds, low wheel tax.
I totally understand that. Same practice for the park, same practice for the health department, that also don't use general funds. That's been the practice, the standard practice for the county.
So-
I mean, Joel can elaborate. I mean, that's,
I don't recall him doing anything different than what you said.
yes.
So transferring in money into an account is taboo, you're saying, or against the rules? Is there an ordinance that says
I'm
you
just
can't
saying
do
the
that?
standard practice of the county in the past has been that that position remains vacant until the funds have been paid out. And then that position is filled and the new person is paid from the same line item.
Since I have a new person starting Monday, I'm asking to change that and allow us an exception to transfer that money in and then pay Dale Stern's sick time.
Chad, are you saying that we simply need to attend to the retirement of Dale Stearns and the itinerary first?
No, what I'm saying is when this previous superintendent, to stay generalized instead of using specific people, retired, that position remains unfilled until this total amount that he will be paid out, which is roughly, nearly $20,000, adding all of these, that position would just remain open until such time that has reached, and then the new person is hired and replaced. And I mean, I see Harold shaking his head. I think he's been here longer than any of us, and that's kind of been the standard practice for every department in the county, that they don't, I mean, same with Jody, who's got 2 open positions. She cannot fill those until she has paid out those positions. Jenny's got one coming up. She'll have the same request. The difference is the highway department doesn't operate out of the general fund, but they're taking it out of another line item, which takes out work from the roads or whatever funds you want to take it. It's less that can be done with those funds, but it's no different than what happens in the general fund. So if Jody and Jenny were to come to us or even request next month, then are we going to give them that funds out of the general fund and start a whole new practice? Is where I'm trying to understand, because that's not been the standard practice.
Were you aware of that standard practice?
No.
Okay. Was that the standard practice when you were engineer before, or were you not in a position to?
No, I wasn't in a position to come across that.
Do you
We have the appropriation to transfer. Okay, that is not a problem. And I can guarantee you that the additional, that transfer will make up for any road money that is lost, because this fellow will make sure that that is made up for and getting improvements accomplished.
Okay, following Robert's rule, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Then we'll get into discussion. Yes.
Opinion on this, because I agree, this is something kind of new or different.
I don't necessarily think there's a legal obstacle to what he's requesting to do. I think past practice has been that for budget reasons, people have been paid out in full before a new position is filled. But legally speaking, there's not necessarily an impediment to what he's asking to be done. It's just not the sequence of how things have been done in the past.
This is up to the council, because it'll be perceived if I intervene that I'm favoring the highway department. So, council, I still have a motion on the floor.
Sorry.
And that's been a motion. Do I have a second? Then we can get into this discussion.
You have a second already.
Who was it?
Kyle?
Kyle, thank you. Now discussion. Thank you for getting in the right order, since we're following protocol and history. So how much monies do you have? Is this going to affect the general fund? Is this going to affect the highway department? Is this going to affect the entire county?
No. The person to put into this classification of this job will help the highway get more completed. So the money will be well spent.
Okay, well, I think Chad brings up a valid point with protocol and history. I don't know, being that you're in the new position, being a department head, if it's something that you should have asked or if somebody here should have communicated. I'm not pointing fingers. He does bring up a valid point.
I have, in all the different government agencies I've worked for, I've never had to do that before,
I think we have,
particularly Hancock.
sorry, Joe. I think we've broken this protocol before. Did we not do that for Bill when he hired Melissa? I mean, we brought him,
He hired Melissa on a part-time basis with funds that he had, and it was a very minimal amount of just a few $1,000s.
He
and
has
it
these
was a few
funds.
weeks earlier.
If it's based on amount, he has millions of dollars. It's
all-
not going to affect the county.
I mean, it does in the fact, and I understand Joe's argument, but a person could make the opposite argument that it does take money away from another project and puts it into this. Does the position being filled negate that? I mean, everybody in here has an opinion on that. That can be, and that's a matter of opinion, not fact. The fact that the money is being taken away from another project is absolute fact. The opinion as to whether or not it negates that is an opinion. So
I think everything we've been talking about is an opinion, because he has millions of dollars. You brought up the fact, as far as the treasurer, he went from part-time and had the money, but as per Susan,
I believe he had money in a part-time budget that he already had that existed. Was that not the case, Debbie? I believe that he had some money in another line item that he utilized to bring her on a part-time basis. And, I'm sorry? So that's what it was. There was a part-time budget that already existed that was utilized. Actually, the assessor's office utilized their part-time budget to allow that to happen and her to be hired in the treasurer. So it didn't affect the budget at all. There was no transfers. It was still done out of a part-time budget. So I think that's a big difference.
I think that we could argue about it all day.
I
There's
think-
obviously a lot of bitter feelings. If this had come up in the last meeting and we had told Joe, you cannot hire him until you have paid off your previous employee, then I would agree with that, but I think he's already hired him now. Have you already? Yeah, so do we want him to fire this individual?
there are probably people in this room who would say yes.
Just,
Kenan, I have a,
Yes.
you guys got me really confused now because I thought we already approved him to hire.
But we didn't transfer the money over to cover the cost of hiring, which is what we're doing now, I think.
I
is
think the
what we're
fact
talking
that we only meet once a month is part of the issue, but that's
Well,
my opinion.
my opinion is, I'll give it, since we did allow him to hire this gentleman, I say we allow him to go ahead with the appropriation.
Well, either way, it's going to make somebody mad because that's the current status. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this, all in favor, and we've had discussion that will last till midnight like last month, and everybody has a strong opinion, and somebody's going to be the bad guy, which we're used to. So all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
And was that Chad? Okay. It passes. I didn't hear what you said, Betsy, because you're on a slight delay.
I voted aye.
Aye, okay.
And Harold abstained.
It's Okay, thank you. It passes 6-1.
Thank you, and I'm sorry for the misunderstanding.
People are,
Okay.
yes. Oh, I didn't hear the abstain. Harold abstained. I thought you said aye, or 5-1-1 for the record.
Thank you.
And we're going to continue to have people leaving because we're the bad guys. Okay, next on the agenda. Pay out a retirement balance of sick hours. First, we have the recorder's office. Betsy Cedrus has been 21 years for Henry County government offices. Her sick time payout is $11,956. Do I have a motion to approve that retirement payout?
Motion to approve with a thank you for her service.
Motion to approve and a thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
We have 2 seconds. I think it was Chad and Betsy. Any discussion? We do thank her for her service, 21 years. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think Betsy was an aye.
I was.
Approved. Thank Betsy for her service of 21 years. That passes 7-0. Next, we have Sheriff's Department, Brent Greider. And this would also be 21 years service, the Henry County Sheriff's Department. Sick time payout would be $11,488. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve, and a very warm thank you for his service.
It's been moved with another warm thank you for 21 years of service by Chad. Do I hear a second? You, Kyle? Yes. Okay. Seconded by Kyle. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 7-0. We have Dale Stearns payout, and I'm going to need a clarification, Debbie. Is that 15,000? Okay, the amount should be, council, $15,962.80. I don't have the particular letter here with years of service. Joe, do you know the years of service since we? Okay.
The letter says 25 years of
25,
service.
okay. I don't have that letter. For 25 years of service, do I have a motion to approve $15,962.80?
So moved.
I heard two.
That
Harold?
was Harold.
Harold, and do I have a second?
Second.
Peggy, okay. Harold made the motion, seconded by Peggy. Do you have any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 7-0. Joe, please pass our thanks, maybe in a letter. Okay. Now we have ARP update. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, Debbie. We have a salary ordinance. This is for the Assistant Highway Superintendent in the amount of $62,500 to be paid out of LOHUT taxes, Fund 6020. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Susan,
A second.
seconded by Peggy. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 6-1.
Harold was a no, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
5-2.
Pardon? Just you two? Two.
Harold and Chad said no.
I'm sorry, again, I'm not watching mouths. It passes 5-4, 2 against. Okay. Next, we have the ARPA. This would be from Exhibit A on your handout, and there's actually only one item, and this was approved under Exhibit A, number 20, at the commissioners' meeting last night. And the addition to what we've already approved this year is the sum of $60,000 for the purchase of one or more vehicles for use by the Henry County Building Inspector and the Henry County Weights and Measure Inspector. I will say, being a member of the ARPA committee, the discussion was for 2 separate used vehicles or new vehicle. One for each of those 2 departments, Building Inspector and Weights and Measure. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I believe if you go up to where we did the $10,000 sign-on bonus, we modified the verbiage. If you look on page, like, number 4 in the,
That needs to be addressed today.
yeah, it was modified in your version. We approved the modification of,
Okay,
yeah, that might, if you want to read it, I can't remember exactly, but we
Okay.
approved that change.
I did not see that. We also, in addition, council, have $10,000 to provide hiring bonuses for new employees accepting employment as jail officers at the Henry County Jail and Rehabilitation Center after such facility is open for new employees hired as deputy sheriffs. If there's additional, I need to see your copy and read it. If it's different. That's it? Okay.
It added for sheriff's deputies, the sheriff like needs to have to offer hiring bonuses rather
That's the change from the original.
than allow.
Okay, I'm going to go out of order. Are there any questions, given that I've mucked this up? It'd be number 4 on Exhibit A and number 20. If not, do I have a motion to approve number 4 and number 20 on Exhibit A for the ARPA funds?
I will make the motion to approve.
It's been moved by Chad,
Second.
second by Kyle. Any discussion now? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 7-0, correct? Correct. Okay. We have an appointment to the Henry County BZA, and that is the Board of Zoning Appeals. There's one open slot that's to be appointed by the Henry County Council that was advertised about 1 month ago. It had one person respond of interest, and it was a person whose term expired on December 31st, 2021, and that was Kevin Brown. And he's agreed to serve on that Board of Zoning Appeals again. Do I have a motion to approve Kevin Brown for the BZA opening?
Move to approve.
Moved by Chad,
Second.
second by Kyle. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Brown, for agreeing to serve on that again. We we have Butch Baker. Butch sent us all a professional company's staff analysis that he received last week, and he's here to give us a summary of that analysis of the 911, his 911 department.
I'm assuming that everybody got a copy of that, has a copy of it, that I sent out, I hope. But you don't necessarily need them here tonight for this presentation, I guess. But I just want to make sure you have one so you can look at it and digest it and get a feeling for what the issue is. I'm here tonight as the director of 911 to bring to you an issue that I feel very strongly about and have for some time about the lack of staffing in 911 center. I've voiced that opinion several times to the 911 board, which some of the board members are here tonight. And in January, they authorized me to have a professional staffing study conducted, which we did, and that's the staffing study that you have. Having said that, 911 answers all emergency calls, administrative calls for the police department, the sheriff's department, and 911 calls throughout the county, and then they dispatch the appropriate agencies. Those agencies throughout the county, fire, law, and EMS, and there's 38 total agencies counting all of them together, and it's in the analysis documentation that I've submitted to you. There's a section in there that talks about the number of hours required to work for a 24/7 operation, and I'm sure you're all aware of. Right now, I currently have 2 dispatchers, 2 dispatch points. When we built it, back and put it in place in 91, and in 2003 moved to where we are today, there's four spots, 4 places for dispatchers. For the most part, we've always staffed it with 2, and back then, 2 was enough. As you'll look through there, you'll see some increase in call activities, and those increase in call activities has caused and created a dangerous situation. 2 at peak times is not enough. That's why I was looking forward to see what this would bring to us and maybe be able to get a 3rd position at peak times. The analysis actually showed that it wasn't just the peak times, that we were too short to be able to staff what we do without using overtime. Something that I wanted to, I guess, point out that's not in that report, and that is back in 1989 and 90, there was 5 dispatchers on duty at any time in this county. Newcastle Police Department, Newcastle Fire Department had a dispatch, Henry County Sheriff's Department had a dispatch, Middletown, Knightstown. Currently, there's the 911 dispatch center in Middletown. We still take the 911 calls from Middletown, and we transfer them up. So we stay on the line and help handle with medical emergencies and those type of things. And then we have to dispatch Newcastle Ambulance Service and some outlying fire departments, depending on their area up there that they're responding to. So basically, we went from 5 dispatchers back then with a whole lot less calls to 2 now, and that's what we're working with. And it's just not enough, especially at peak times. Peak times isn't 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, or 2 we can get by with. Having said that, I guess the only thing I would ask that you look at is the recommendations. And I know the recommendations are great, and they're astronomical, and they're probably impossible to do. But at some point in time, and maybe during our budget hearings, we can have a further talk, we need to come up with some process or way to be able to increase the staff over there so we have at least staffing that's going to safeguard the citizens and the officers, police, fire, and EMS.
Butch, Did you say you have 2 full-time right now?
I have 2 full-time dispatchers on duty at all times in 2 spots. But I have a place for 4. It's equipped for 4. When we built that, we anticipated growth, and we should have had growth, and we have had growth in everywhere except for personnel. So we have the facility to manage 3 positions or 4 positions, not even looking at 4 positions, but right now we need 3. Which, as you'll see when you go through there, to get 3 positions at peak times, it's going to require 2 to maintain what we got. Right now, I'm spending a lot of money on overtime that I could take that overtime money and put it towards a full-time salary and eliminate part of my problem. But if I don't have that opportunity to do that, then I just keep spending the overtime money. And now, some of my employees love it because they're getting time and a half, and they're working 2 and 3 12-hour shifts a month at time and a half. But they'd also just soon have a 3rd person in there and the right number of people. With the benefits that the county gives the county employees, it takes 141 hours a year per employee, additional manpower that I have to come up with to cover their holidays, their vacation, their personal days, those type of things. So that's 141 hours. It comes from someplace. Well, it comes from overtime. I have part-time people, but my part-time people all have full-time jobs, and they're limited on when they can work. So I have a hard time filling all those spots. I do when I can. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Everyone have a handout now. Thank you, Debbie, for doing that. That's
Thank you.
my fault. I received a copy, and Bobby received a copy, and I apologize. It didn't occur to me I needed to forward that. That was going to be in the itinerary, so that's me. Be mad at me. No one. No, I said this. Listen. Council, be mad at me that I didn't forward it to you. I'll make myself clear. Thank you. And
Make one statement regarding this.
Yes.
Because I told Butch today, I said, I support you.
go right ahead.
We received the update, he just wanted to keep, we don't have the decision to make, it's all you. But he did come to us last night and give us the same presentation. And I told him, I said, I support it, and I just wanted to voice my opinion that, when I call 911, I want somebody to be able to answer the phone. I don't know what we can do, but I am in support of this study and trying to move forward and get more staff.
And one thing I heard last night, because I was tuned in to the commissioners meeting, and it didn't occur to me that I needed to forward this on to council, because you'd only forwarded it to me. My apologies, council. That's on me. One thing that was said last night, and if you just said it, it's because my mind's elsewhere, which often is. You said you would be thrilled if we could hire one more, realizing that 5 was not possible in the budget. So something to bring up at the budget hearings. If you read over this, we're woefully short-staffed over there. Any way you slice it, we're woefully short-staffed. So for your consideration at budget hearings, council. Any discussion?
I would only make the comment, one, Butch did send it to everybody on the 26th at 9 o'clock because it was sent to the county council and email, so everyone does have it in their county email.
So
2, I
still be
do
mad.
like the way Butch thinks outside the box. When we were in our department head meeting, he had some ideas on ways that he could potentially shift some funds already in his budget to start down that process. So I definitely want to hear more when we get into budget. I don't know what day you're scheduled, but I'm definitely open and interested in hearing more of your ideas. And since you've taken over that department, you've done a great job with the equipment and the schedules and part-timers, getting the right people in place. And so I, definitely open to your thoughts when we get to budget.
And I'm glad it went to everybody. So Any other questions or comments? Okay, very good. Thank you, Butch. And do bring that up and emphasize it when we have the budget hearings. Chad, I'm going to put you on hold because I just realized that I had let EDC update and chamber update you guys sit for the last hour. So, ladies first? Okay. Chamber update. Shonda, I apologize. I have arrows where things have been shifted today.
No
I
worries.
saw you out there and I thought I skipped you too, and I know you've got work to do, so please, update from the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely, thank you. So the Chamber this past year has put a lot of work into being more awareness in the community, building programs, adding opportunities for businesses. As you may remember, the Meeting Point was a great kickoff year for that. We've added workshops every month, just embellished a lot of our programs and different things. So I think a great testimony to that is we are excited to announce that this time last year we had 9 new members. As of this time this year, we have 45 new members. So we just want to celebrate that and tell everyone thank you for your support and supportive events. We had a great golf outing. One of the things we've got coming up, August 18th, is our chamber lunch. We'd like to see everybody there. This one's always a favorite, Boar's Head. So Boar's Head is our sponsor and our presenter, so I'm sure there'll be some nice swag there for everybody at our lunch, so I invite you to that. Also, October 6th, we are having a Meet the Candidates open house at the Armory. So that is open to anyone that is on the fall ballot, from school board, just anyone that is on the ballot. That's open to them at no cost, and you can find out more about that on our website and register on our website. We ask everyone to register. So as we look forward, then also September 10th is our Cash Bonanza. So that's the $10,000 prize money night. This year's theme is Party Gras. And we've done that virtual for 2 years, so this year we're coming out with a bang. We've added new games, we've added entertainment, we've added a cocktail hour. So a lot of our other events you've seen, how we've expanded them. Cash Bonanza is the same, so that'll be our big wrap-up for the year.
And what was that date again, September?
September 10th. It's a Saturday. Also, I want to let you know that we do have a board seat open, if anyone would be interested in getting on board with the Chamber. And we are planning our calendar for 2022. So we do have another business conference we're looking at for the fall of 22, a women's conference. So we do have some new things in the works for next year as well as we grow. So get on board the board and be part of that. But if any businesses or individuals would like to partner with the Chamber on something that would benefit our businesses here in Henry County, and we do have members from Wayne County, Delaware County. It's broader than Henry County. We'd love to sit down and talk with you and see what kind of programs you think would be beneficial that we could add.
One question I have, and the council may have some more. To join the Chamber of Commerce as an individual, how much is that?
As an individual, it's $50.
50. And do you have to be a member to attend the luncheon? I heard you say we're invited, but what?
No, it's open to anyone. You do not have to be a member to attend a lunch.
And you have to RSVP.
Yeah, you do have to register on our website, so we have a count for food.
And there's a cost to non-members?
It's $25. It's $20 to members and $25 to non-members.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Questions for Shonda?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It's great to hear the number of new members this year. Corey, looks like you gave us gifts in a bag.
So the catalyst for this bag was the recent hosting of the Little League State Championship. So we work with the volunteer board of directors at the Little League, and we stuffed 160 of these bags and gave them to the teams to welcome them to our community. We bought extra bags, So this is just an idea, or this is just to give you an example of the tourism marketing. Some of you may have received or already seen our first visitor's guide, so it's in there. We received these a week after your council meeting in June. And then there's the regional magazine also in here. And our advertorial is on page 47. And our advertorial has nothing to do with basketball on purpose. It's about the great outdoors here in Henry County, from canoeing, camping, to biking, bird watching, etc. So that is a brief tourism update. On the economic development side, we're beginning to plan the marketing messaging for Make My Move. And then a while back, I talked about wayfinding and signage, and we're finally getting to having an initial meeting in regards to that. Representatives from county government, city government, and Middletown and Knightstown have all been invited to see if we want to pursue a countywide plan in regards to wayfinding and signage. And then in terms of business development activity, the inquiries and the follow-on conversations remain strong in regards to the Shell building out in the industrial park. So that is positive. And then I'm also getting some inquiries regarding some expansions of existing. And so when I'm at the point to share more on that, I hope I'm able to. Any questions?
Lot going on. Thank you. Thank you for the goodies.
This is really cool.
I know from other forums I've sat in and listened to you, there is interest in the Shell building. There is interest in, inquiries on the Shell building, interest in a hotel down in by the 70 interchange. Things are going on. People are expressing interest, no guarantees, but if we didn't have the Shell building, there would be no interest. No other questions for Corey. Thank you, Shonda. Thank you, Corey, for what you do to generate interest in the county. Chad, back to you on job classification matters.
So I'm going to start out this evening, and I warned Joel before I'm putting him on the spot here, but I'm going to make a recommendation as the chair of the Job Classification Committee meeting that Joel look at alternatives to the way the committee operates, because at this point I have begged every single meeting to try to get employees involved. We have advertised multiple times in the newspaper to try to get citizen appointees. And we are so few of us on the committee that we have a difficult time meeting quorum because we're short 4 members right now. And so if I don't believe anything's going to change on that front. So unless something changes drastically, I think we have to look at a new way this committee is formed. I know this is an ordinance that was been in existence for decades at this point. I do believe it was kind of dropped for a while, and everything came straight to the council, which I think is not the best option, but it is an option. Many times in our Job Classification Committee meetings, we will have departments that will appear before us that we ask to go back and get additional information, whether that's from Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, or other things, which would just be another thing to clutter up the council time and in our agenda, because we try to ducks are in a row from the Job Classification Committee. So that being said, I talked to Joel. I don't know if we need a motion by this council to do that. I'm guessing yes, probably, for him to research and come back to this council with recommendations on what his thoughts are. I'm sure he would entertain any opinions that anyone has as to what that could be, but unfortunately, the employees have seemed less than interested in joining. We've had no request whatsoever from the public in joining the committee. And it's a very vital committee. It is one that controls the job descriptions and the salaries of every employee in the county employees. So it's surprising that no one seems that interested. But I guess I'm open to thoughts and discussion before I bring the park up, who does have some information to provide directly to the council, since we weren't able to have a job classification committee meeting.
Did you actually, oh, I'm sorry. Did you actually make a motion?
I did not
Okay.
yet make a motion.
I think it's good to research options, so I'm in favor of looking at different options.
Other comments, thoughts, ideas?
I'll make a motion then that we ask Joel to look into the options for restructuring the job classification committee meeting in hopes we have a better number that gets us a quorum.
We have a motion to have Joel investigate options for job classification as currently written. Do I have a second?
I'll second. And I just want to concur with Chad that it's been disheartening that it's been so difficult for us to have these meetings. And I think he's done everything he can to try to encourage folks to join us. So having Joel investigate this, I think, is a good option for us.
Okay, thank you, Betsy. It's been moved and seconded by two people. We'll give this one to Betsy because you said it, but we didn't hear it until after Harold seconded it.
President of the Job Classification Committee also, and I agree with Chad on this because there were times we had a lack numbers to even be able to vote on anything. And I think county employees really need it, and outsiders as well, especially where you really need. I wish they take interest because it's important.
Agreed. Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? We agree it's a vital part. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Joel, if you want to get with me and we can cover some ideas and then maybe get back next month, if that's okay with the president.
Okay, and you said the park has something you want to come forward, or how do you want to handle this, Chad?
Yes, so the park had a request for the job classification committee meeting, and again, we weren't able to meet, so we moved them straight to the council meeting. I believe they have 3 positions that they want to discuss. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay.
Is the mic on? Make sure the mic's on.
Yeah, I think so now. Okay.
You got to get real close to that thing
Okay,
so
sorry.
everybody in the world can hear us.
Thank you, Casey.
Okay. We would like to bring forth a few changes that we are requesting. Some of these reasons we are looking to make these changes are to retain and hire quality personnel, as well as professionalizing our workforce. We want to structure and increase productivity and project accomplishment. We reduced the full-time secretary position to a part-time position. This position has already been filled, and these hours can decrease with this off-season months if they're not needed. That brings more things on me, but it's completely handled inside our office with that. The salary for that full-time position was $30,000. I am only needing $15,000 for the 2023 year.
And that would be how many hours per week?
Less than 28, so depending on the week. She also is our weekend secretary, so she does work 4 hours each day of the weekend. So she'll work the weekend and a couple days through the week.
But the grand total will still be 28 or less?
Yes, yep, under 28.
So just to make sure, you're requesting the council, and then the commissioners will also have to, because it's a salary ordinance that exists, to do away with a full-time position as park secretary, which I believe is a comment 2 position, and then add a line item to your fund to call a part-time secretary position. And you want, I mean, we can discuss the numbers when it gets to the, we get to the budget more so, but basically what they're requesting is to do away with a full-time position and make it a part-time position.
Yeah.
My only concern is coverage, because right now we have, the parks covered all week long and on the weekends. And obviously, if you're taking the weekend coverage and extending it into the week, you're not going to get the exact same coverage. So if you are out of the office, you're on vacation, you're what have you, and so you won't be, if you've got a problem in the park and you have to be out of the office, there could be some coverage issues, would be my only concern as someone who's probably, well, definitely more experienced than any of my colleagues here on the committee, because I served as a park board president. So I do know that that is a vital role, and there is a lot of public comment, questions, concerns, rentals that walk into the building on a regular basis. So that's my concern with this shift.
Another thing that will help that is I've been working with Jeff, and the website upgrade is going to be happening really soon. That will help with answer a lot of questions and reservations and payments. And they can also pay over the phone now. They'll be able to pay online. So we're working that. We just met on Tuesday, so that's coming to help.
And I think that's awesome, but as all the department heads that met with Kenan and I that morning, the auditor, the treasurer, the assessor, the recorder, they all have all of theirs automated online, but yet they still see a very, very small number of people, because so many people like to go in and physically touch and feel and be there in the moment. I mean, not everyone. I shop on Amazon just as much as anybody else, but I may be the exception to our community that's full of a lot of older folks.
So this has to go forward in front of the commissioners.
So we'll have to vote on it to remove the position and do away with the salary ordinance. Then the commissioners would have to do the same. We vote on the position more so because it's in their budget. That the commissioners will remove the salary ordinance as well. So that we all have to collectively vote on the salary ordinance. The council will basically vote to remove that position and change it to a different line item in the fund.
Are you suggesting we wait until after budget hearings to see how this shakes down and after the next commissioners meeting?
I was going to say, I actually really like this job restructuring. I have mentioned that before in other meetings. It's a creative way to raise salaries and still get work done. So I am very much in favor of this, but I would like to wait, if we could, until budget time to see what we do with other people's jobs, because we're just 2 weeks away from that. And so even though I am excited about it, and I think you're doing a great job, I wouldn't mind waiting to budget session to, yeah, I guess that's a motion to table.
Okay, it's been moved to pause this until budget hearings, which starts next week and concludes 2 weeks from now. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
And seconded by Chad. Any other discussion?
I think that's really good logic, just to hit pause for a couple weeks. So I concur with Susan.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed, same. Passes 7-0. Thank you. And you have another item, I guess.
Yep. Okay, so number 2 we'd like to move one of our groundskeepers, full-time salary groundskeeper, into a working foreman position. The acting foreman has been serving the park as the park mechanic and groundskeeper since January 22. He oversees the day-to-day park responsibilities as listed on the working foreman job description. He also serves to be on call in case of emergency or if I'm unavailable. And he oversees and instructs 4 part-time and 2 full-time employees out in the field. In regarding the class, the job description, we have a job description. It's not in our line item in the budget. It's an LTC Class 3. And Anne researched this for us, and she said the closest position she could find that was within the Memorial Park ordinances was titled the building foreman. It's a classified LTC 3 before it was removed from the salary ordinance and use of the position. The current job category for this classification is $39,445 annual salary per the job description requirements.
Is this another one that we should table?
Well, I was going to say, I think we all need copies of that, or the job description. Has it been to WISC and updated? When was the last time that job description was updated?
1996.
Okay, that's a long time ago. So this is one of those instances that I just spoke of with the committee. If you would have appeared before the committee, I can only speak for myself, I can't. But I'm guessing we would have probably asked you to take that job description to Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, which Ann can help you do, and get it reviewed and updated, because 26-year-old job description, it'd be very difficult for us to make decisions on.
Okay.
So I'm going to move we table this until it can either go back before the job classification committee meeting, or again the council if they're not able to meet. And so I would definitely get with Ann and get all that updated. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to holler at me, but I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we table this for the time being until we get some additional information. And my discussion part is there's currently no WISC highway foreman job, but the LTC 3s are making $39,000. So more research, perhaps, before there's action taken. Not that we're opposed, we just need more information. Any other discussion? If not, it's been moved and seconded. Do you have discussion?
I was just going to say again that I really appreciate, your thinking. And have you already presented an overall summary of the cost impact of the different changes and I've missed it? Or is it something you could pass along?
I will bring that to the next one and get it to you guys.
Okay.
It's a $7,000 difference from what the salary to moving them there. And our thought was we could pull that from the secretary line that we are saving from that.
Okay. And does this overall kind of restructuring provide for raises for everyone in the park department?
We
or-
have the possibility of having the leftover in that secretary line to do
I'd like
that
to
with.
see any of that you have.
Okay.
We know everyone needs a raise, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. I agree with that last statement. Everyone deserves a raise, and I'll get a little bit more to that here at the end. It's been moved and seconded to table this again for further information and research and maybe feedback from Wagner. When Shealy, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. And you have other item?
He does.
Steve?
Thank you.
It is the intention of the park board to increase the salary of the superintendent to $45,000 a year and reinstate the house for the superintendent to occupy.
And here the last part, move the superintendent to what, Steve?
The house that the superintendent used to occupy, to put it back in play. In
Okay.
other words, the superintendent would live at the park in the house that used to be occupied by the superintendent.
Okay, is that commissioner county property?
So, yeah,
That would have to go before the commissioners, just because it's their property, right? Okay, so,
Well, it was because the superintendent was moved out of it.
No, it wasn't. It was before she was moved out of it. It is not under the control of the clerk. The commissioners control the house.
Okay,
Well,
I would
then
suggest,
if that be the case,
Okay.
and the commissioners do not want the superintendent in the house, then we will pay the superintendent $50,000 a year salary.
okay, that still has to go past the council, because it's in our
Excuse
fund.
me, but we hire the superintendent, therefore we can make the contract.
No, not according to Indiana code.
Which
You're still
code?
under our budget, and you're still under the council. And I'm not trying to be mean or defensive. I'm really not. I would suggest,
Does the code say that the park board hires the superintendent?
I say that Indiana code dictates that we approve the budgets.
We have to approve the salary ordinance for this employee, which.
And I'm not trying to be
is that
difficult,
correct?
Steve, I'm really not.
Yeah.
But that's something Joel
Mr.
can advise us on, but it is something that we have to attend to as part of our requirements by Indiana code for the council, and I'm not trying to be difficult. Go ahead, Joel.
It's similar to any other position. Department heads fill positions in their department. You guys determine the number of positions and salary. It's the same thing with superintendent. Park board has the right to select who's the superintendent, supervise the superintendent, but you guys ultimately, as the fiscal body, determine what that salary is.
So it's not even that we don't like your suggestion as much as we're just saying that we would need to approve. But I'm glad that you gave us both.
Well-
Your one compensation package was the number in the house, so your second recommendation is the number without the house. So
Yes, that's what it is.
I appreciate that information.
And when it comes to budget hearing, Steve and Casey and Rita, just bring that up again at budget hearings, and it's something we just need to discuss. And we probably
Well,
need
the
to do a
sum,
little bit
the
of
sum
research.
total of the whole thing was not going to cost anybody any money
Okay. well,
outside of our budget.
We've heard that today and last month too, but it still has some issues we need to research and make sure we're doing things right and
And
according to law.
it's
But that
imminent,
information's
so-
helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful, and we are getting ready to do it. I think, our budget sessions begin next week, so it's not like we're telling you to wait 6 months. We just, yeah.
No,
So
that's fine. I just, I puzzle over the inclination not to move forward on things that make sense to everyone and are under control of someone who's overlooking it and making sure it's right and not going to bust the budget and going to hopefully improve morale and professionalism of the workforce. That's the only problem I have.
Understood, and morale has been the topic of the month. So we will discuss this further at budget hearings as per law, and I appreciate the information because we kind of give us a preview of coming attractions at the budget hearings.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion, we table.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Chad and Susan that we table, and we'll take most of these up at budget hearings in the next 2 weeks. And any other discussion?
I will only make the comment again because I have been there. I'm worried the house would bust the park's budget because I know what kind of repairs and upkeeps that property needs, and it is tens of thousands of dollars. So,
Yeah, please come up to the mic because we're broadcasting and people can't hear Steve. Thank you.
In regard to the house, we have a figure in mind that we can spend on the house. If it turns out that the repairs are greater than that, then we probably would not do it. But then again, if the house actually is under the control of the commissioners, then we may say to the commissioners, you fix it, because it's yours.
Something for their consideration and research and discussion.
their meeting is held on the Wednesdays, second and fourth Wednesdays of the month.
I'm
So
aware
I
of
would
that.
recommend
I'm aware of
going
that.
to
And
see
their
that.
next one's at 11 a.m. on the 10th. So thank you sincerely.
I have a question.
We are at discussion time still, I think. No, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Terrell.
I've heard this, and maybe it's just rumor. Has there been some talk about the county ambulance people staying out there and running out of that location?
No, the county ambulance was there temporarily, but they have since moved into the old jail facility, and there was an article in the paper this week, and it's phenomenal. Mandy and them have done a phenomenal job, and so, yeah, they're back downtown and really still excelling, so.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know about the jail. That would work out good.
It is phenomenal, so.
Can I make one more comment? I just wanted to say again that I really think that we have a better outcome when we don't, get angry and be antagonistic towards each other. So from our side, we need to balance job classifications and making sure people with the same classifications get the same wages. And so we just don't want to do it rashly, but it's not that we, don't like the things that you're proposing. And we do really appreciate you thinking out of the box and coming with a solution. That's what I love, is that you've brought a solution and not a complaint. I love that. And so just be patient for a week or two while we make sure that we're not overlooking something that it's our job not to overlook. So thank you guys so much.
From what I've tuned in to park meetings, they're much more civil and productive than what I recall a couple of years ago. So thank you for the efforts made in a positive direction. And you're making positive moves. And you had some very fantastic events held out there, both in June for the bicentennial, and you also have plans being made for the future. So thank you for getting along. And we have discussion. Oh, I wanted Kyle to give an update, because you gave one other department heads, on the status of the public defender's office that we've taken up the last two meetings. This would be kind of under old business. I think there's some kind of study being done, if you could share.
Keep it brief. After talking with Chief Public Defender, Judge Crane, the Public Defender's office is governed by several contracts, and to see if it will be beneficial to the county, they've enlisted, Kathy Ickey's enlisted the IPDC, Indiana Public Defender Commission, or Council, whichever, I can't remember off the top of my head, to go forward with the study to see what the benefit would be from a compliance standpoint and a budget standpoint on, I guess, essentially reformatting the Public Defender Office here in the county to come within the IPDC Public Defender, I guess, reimbursement program is the best way to put it. So that it's just an exploratory study right now. I think they're anticipating to get some results here within the next month. It doesn't have any immediate impact, but I think around June or July next year is when the next contract that the judges have in place with kind of the way the office works will be signed. So if there's positive development from a budget standpoint, then that's where we wouldn't want to jump into that contract next year. If there's a better financial impact for the county by being in the reimbursement program.
If I just may suggest, when that study comes back, that you contact other counties who currently are doing that and are contacting our county wanting to know how we are doing it because it's not working for them. So I would just make sure that you contact other counties and not just take this study or this suggestion to see it in real world before any changes are implemented. Because I'm getting phone calls from other counties wanting to know how they can get out of doing that because it's not working for them.
And yeah, I do know from prior experiences that it is a county by county basis on how well they perform here versus there in this county versus that county. So those are all good things to take into consideration. It's just a matter of, I think right now, what makes the best sense from a budget standpoint. That's the first thing we're going to look at, and then looking at the impact on the services that the office provides. So there are several facets to look at, but right now, like I said, it's just exploratory. Yeah. Yeah. So it's exploratory. Due diligence is where we're at.
Okay, and Chad invited me to meet with the judges because there's a sit-down information gathering after Kathy spoke to us, I believe in May, and I went along, and 2 out of the 3 judges pretty much said proceed with caution because we once did that and it didn't work, so don't jump into it. And I don't know if you want to say anything other than that, Chad, but they distinctly said proceed with caution because you might regret the move that you make. And that's one of the things the judges said. The judges that had been around knowing when that change was made and why it was made, they said, you know, get a second opinion and research all facets. Yes. But that may not be the whole picture. Might want to get a second opinion like a doctor. You might want to get a second opinion sometimes.
No, I would only concur. I agree after looking at it, talking with several individuals, and Kyle's done a great job of kind of going in there and talking to them as well. And it's, I think we just have to gather all the information and make sure, because there's a lot of angles to look at this, because with this program, you have to meet some very high standards. And if you don't meet those standards, then you don't get any reimbursements. And at the end of the day, like Debbie said, it could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional general fund expenditures that we just don't have. So I think I think it's a great idea to look into it as an alternative, and if it really will work and save some money, I'm all for it, but you have to just make sure you do your due diligence.
Due diligence, proceed with caution. I think that's pretty much the same message. Thank you. The only discussion on the 2023 Geo Bond, I wanted to know if we wanted to proceed. Jason Simler at our July 11th work session shared a handout. We have Geo Bonds that are coming due, and council, remember this, that he passed out on July 11th. Just keep that in mind. And at the last meeting, did we want to go forward and tell Jason to proceed with investigating that?
I'll make a motion that we allow Jason to proceed with looking into options to renew that bond.
Been moved by Chad.
Second.
Second by Susan. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of Jason moving forward with investigating and researching and making a placeholder in case we decide to go this way, say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 7-0. I'll get in touch with Jason and tell him to proceed, because I think he said we needed about 5 months to go through that whole process to be ready by January, if we so choose to proceed. There will be time for public comment here. I just wanted to give a few notes. Next meeting is going to be on August 25th. Debbie informs me if we get things done with the budget as we hope to complete on time. I know there's some leeway that we have to report that. We may have a public hearing on... Okay. Okay. And does that, if we finish up by the 10th, or if we need a 5th day of meeting like we have the last 2 years on the 12th, if the 25th, which is our next regular meeting of August, would that be sufficient time between the 12th and the 25th to do the advertising and what's needed? Yeah, okay. So that has a public hearing on August 25th. Just want to make sure I'm okay. Okay, I will take a motion that we move the next meeting, as we advertised back in January, to 6 p.m. because there would be a public hearing and the public would more likely be able to attend at 6 p.m. for those working than at 3:30. And we have our public hearing for the budget on our next regularly scheduled meeting, which would be on Thursday, August 25th at 6 p.m. Let's make it official with a motion.
So moved.
Who said that? Kyle? Who? Chad. And we have a second. Harold. It's been moved and seconded that we have our public hearing for our official 2023 Henry County budget at 6 p.m. on August 25th. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes 7-0. So mark that on your calendars, 6 p.m. And we said that should be at 6 p.m. That does not have to be a public hearing, does it? No, I just did the 25th. Do that need to also be a public hearing? Okay, so that can be at 3:30, but the public hearing's at 6 on the 25th, so the September one will be at 3:30. Okay. Just budget hearings, just a real quick reminder, starting next Wednesday, August 3rd, then Friday the 5th, the following Monday the 8th, and Wednesday the 10th. Council, we're scheduled for 8:30 to 4. We are advertising for department heads most days 9 to 3:30. So that gives us a little bit of buffer to plan, especially on that Monday. We won't have any time between Friday and Monday to deliberate, and we need to do that in public. So most slots are 30 minutes. Sheriff and jail is a much larger and perhaps more questions, 90 minutes. Commissioners and highway, second largest budgets, 60 minutes. All others are 30. I would like to congratulate Debbie and Bobby for new ones in their households, correct? Not yet? You have one forthcoming, as I recall. Okay, well, congratulations ahead of time. A successful Live Well that was co-sponsored by Henry County Health and our Henry County Health Department on the 21st. Thanks to our Bicentennial Committee, Scott and Carrie, for some wonderful events that have occurred in June, and some of them still occurring. Thanks to our department heads for meeting with us on the 18th and the 26th. Very candid conversations and discussions. Public comments. Mayor, you're here. You want to just here to listen? Slow day in the city? No, it's never slow, is it? We appreciate everybody being here. Anything else for the council or any other public comments?
I'm assuming most of my colleagues up here received this letter from the residents on County Road
You want to read it?
950. I would just
Summarize
ask, they are requesting that their road be considered for repavement. According to them, it hasn't been done in quite some time, since the 80s. And there are a number of houses on that road, and they're looking to build more, which we certainly don't want to discourage. So I would ask that we enter this into our minutes, and that we ensure that the commissioners and the highway superintendent has received a copy.
Okay. That a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same. Okay, it passes. I believe I heard everybody, 7-0. And Joe, here's a copy of it. I saw it at 3:30 today, so here's a copy. You can look at it. Do I have a motion to adjourn if there's no other public comments?
So moved.
So moved, so moved. Second. Adjourn. We have signatures, so don't take out too quickly, please.